Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name's Jay Izzo, and oh man, we have another great show. So easy, great author, great book, and it makes my show easy. Me, this is a great show. The book this week, first of all, the author is Molly Tschang, written with Marshall Goldsmith. Is Say It Skillfully. Speak up, make your words matter, win together. Let me just throw out some things at you. How are you doing when it comes to really being able to say what you should say in a way that everybody gets it? And then how is everybody else getting it? Is everybody else getting it? Is everybody have a voice on your team, right? In your business? Because here's the problem. Listen, I know you're a CEO, entrepreneurs, and I work with some of you, and you've got these big companies, and I know. But here's the thing. Everybody should have a voice. Because if everybody doesn't have a voice, what you've done is you stifled innovation and creativity in your business. And then here's what else. And this is kind of me, okay? I'm not saying that Molly says it this way, but this is kind of Jay, as paraphrase of this. Here's the other problem. The other problem is, if not everybody has a voice, then what else are we short-signing ourselves on that we don't realize? Is it the customer experience? Is it the customer service? Because see, if not everybody's involved, right? And if we're not cheering each other on, and if we're not able to say the things that need to be said, even from people who you may not think should say it because you have this order in your head, we're losing something. We're losing the whole. You know, you might think that, you know, some of this isn't important, but every voice is important. Every voice is important because ideas come from everywhere. Innovation comes from anywhere. And here is something that I've said on this program over and over again, and it's been said. You know what? There's no problem that creativity cannot solve. And if you don't have every voice, you're limiting your creativity, which means that you're not able to fully solve the problems that you want to solve. That's what this book, I think, really, really hits it for me. And how do we get there? And that's what Molly Tschang and Marshall Goldsmith put together. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I got to introduce you to her because she's fantastic. Molly Tschang, founder of Bella Consulting and Say It Skillfully Incorporated. She empowers senior management and their teams to win as one. With expertise in over 80 mergers and acquisitions at Cisco and U.S. Filter, she's guided executives through the intricate human dynamics of transformational change and growth. Molly helps leaders cultivate mutual commitment, enabling them to excel in complex, high-stakes environments. Through Say It Skillfully, she equips individuals at all levels with skills to communicate effectively and authentically. Her mission? To ensure that everyone is seen, heard, and understood to work better together and drive real impact. And this is her first book, and it's pretty darn awesome. And it is called Speak Up. Say It Skillfully. Speak up, make your words matter, win together. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, welcome for first time ever to A New Direction, Molly Tschang. Welcome to the show.
Jay, it is an absolute privilege to be with you and your mighty audience. I am so excited for our conversation this evening.
Yeah, me too. So let's just start in chapter 1, which is entitled Win is Won with Shared Reality. Here's this is a big word for you. Learning to say it skillfully is crucial. This is what you say, is crucial to creating a state called shared reality. Walk us through that, because this is going to be crucial to the rest of the show.
Yeah. So shared reality, defined as being on the same page about both the hard facts and the human experience, how you feel, how other feels, where everyone is at. And this emotional and behavioral human dynamic is really fundamental to getting a 360 view of a situation. And the number one thing missing in companies of any size doing anything anywhere in the world is a lack of shared reality. Oh, we have our performer Susie. Someone thinks she's amazing and should be promoted. Someone thinks she should be fired. Mm-hmm. Someone says the customer is unhappy. This person thinks the customer is euphoric. And so without an accurate shared reality, we cannot make the best decisions execute with speed, and get to our greatest outcomes.
Hmm.
And it is a glaring neon light for me in organizations all over the world. And it's not leader driven or leader only created. It takes all of us to create an accurate shared reality because we all see things differently. And that ability to bubble up what we're seeing and that we are in fact seeing it differently. We can't even address disconnects, Jay, if people don't feel comfortable saying, you know, I hear what you're saying. I don't see it that way. Can we talk about it? And you can't manage a secret. And Alan Mulally ran Boeing, turned around Ford, is one of my beloved mentors. And he's like, I can't manage a secret. No one can.
Mm.
So this notion of being on the same page about the hard facts, but also where people are at. You want to create change. You want to lead change. How people feel about it matters. So, I mean, I had a leader once who said, you know, emotions have nothing to do with decision making. You know, I'm thinking, I mean, ask Hermes scarves. You think people need to have, you know, $500 scarves? I don't know. $20,000 bags. I think it plays a role, right? So I think that idea of appreciating that it's not the world according to me or Jay, that we all see things differently, that we need to be able to bubble that all up so that we align. We may not agree. People may not 100% agree, but in the spirit of, hey, I understand where everyone's at. I've voiced my opinion, but I'm going to go with it. And that's how we have to work. It's not about 100%. Everyone's necessarily all in all the time.
Just to let that person know, if you're tuning in or watching this clip later on down the road, in fact, all our decisions are made with emotion. We don't make them logically. Just speaking as a professional in this field. So I just want to let you know that we all decide with our emotion. We justify with logic because we don't make logical decisions because we're human. Okay, enough of that. That was the side note. Thank you for playing along, everybody. I want to get, here's the thing though, when you talk about this shared reality and getting everybody on the page, there is ultimately fear. And fear is a big deal. And you say that there are 3 common fears that hold people back: fear of being wrong, fear of not fitting in, and fear of being offended. Let's talk about those and in terms of how those play a role in, as at least as part of a reason why we're not getting involved in the conversation.
Yeah, and I want to normalize fear, and I don't want to make fear a bad thing or that you should feel bad that you have fears. The number one thing is being aware of it. I want to just tackle one meta topic, which is this notion of psychological safety first and foremost. So it is absolutely vital and overrated. I can take a group of strangers to safe space 45 minutes max. 45 minutes max, okay? What leader wakes up? I'm going to make it so scary today. No one's going to tell me what I need to hear. Who publicized? We have a closed door policy. Nobody wants that, right? So I understand that there may be environments, there are environments and leaders who don't really want to hear it. And we're taking that out, folks. And if you are in one of those environments, my ask of you is just to really consider, why are you there? Is that a place that you can spread your wings and fly? Because I personally just want you to be in a place where you feel like you can contribute fully and feel valued for it. And that's on you. That's a call that I think each individual needs to make. I don't want to make it wrong if you stay, but I just think that people need to own that. It's very easy to blame. The boss doesn't want to hear it. I'm like, I don't know. All the leaders I know do want to hear it. It may not be easy to hear. Okay. It may not be easy to hear, but they want to hear it. And if you're here to serve the whole, the greater good of an organization, that intention is justifiable. You will not go down. Well, I really wanted to help the company. I mean, who's going to shoot you down for that? Right. So I want to normalize the fears, and that the psychological safety is generally there. If you have seen someone who said something that was counter to what the leader wanted to hear and they were fired immediately, okay, that's a sign. I am not telling you to speak up in those kinds of environments. I just want people to be very clear on that. So you have to gauge if their safety is there. Okay. Short of that, this idea of being wrong. So Jay, ever since, it's in the book, when I had 4th grade, I made a mistake, but we're just geared to feel like we need to be right. It's bad if we're wrong or we're stupid, and heaven forbid. And, we feel like it's just, that's how we've been promoted because we've been right. When anyone knows that to get to success is a series of failures, mistakes, learning, right? We want to learn and make new mistakes, by the way. But I think this is something that people inherently know, but it's hard for people to overcome. Gary Ridge, again, one of my mentors, led WD-40 company created learning moments, no mistakes, learning moments, and were better for them. So that entire organization embraced mistakes, again, making the right ones, not making the same ones over and over, in a way that propelled the team forward. Right. So getting over that, embracing the failures, and we talked about this, the bumps, the falling down, the ugly stuff, but that's part of what makes us who we are. And it's the struggles that are most defining and create, I think, our greatest resilience. So then not fitting in, I think that gets to wanting to be a team player, right? And we want to be liked generally, a little bit afraid of rocking the boat. I better not rock the boat. I must be the only one who doesn't understand, right? But that, short-term kind of win of staying silent is never really the long-term solution, because those problems will only persist. They rarely just kind of vaporize and go away on their own. And I guarantee you, folks, if you're seeing something, probably someone else sees that too. And so the skillfulness is saying, hey, I may not be right. I'm noticing this. I'd love us to consider this angle to make sure that we're, looking at it from a 360 view, just helping people find the words that help them get into a conversation in service to the whole, right? And there's a lot of reasons for this, belonging, cultural differences. I mean, I grew up, there was one Chinese, one Korean, one Black family. I mean, I really wanted to fit in when I was little. Socioeconomics, gender, age. You can be, English isn't your first language. You may feel a little shy to speak up. You may be new on the team, and that alone creates a little bit of fear and desire to conform when you're first there. I mean, that's all legit. Again, coming back and saying, hey, what if I have something to say that could serve the whole? I want you to think about being generous, not robbing the team or the company of something that might be really helpful for them. And then that last piece, the fear of offending.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the one that gets to performance feedback in particular, which of course, as leaders, your job is to develop people, right? So if we see something, rather than, oh my gosh, I have to tell them something bad, how about, wow, I have an opportunity to help someone grow and be better. Just that energy of you can help someone see something they don't see. We all have blind spots, Jay, right? You and I, and we need other people to illuminate them for us. And so that ability to, I think, recenter how I think about, am I going to offend or am I really here to help someone? And, it gets to wanting to value our relationships, which are very important. And I think the myth is you can't maintain a relationship, when you have something that someone doesn't want to hear. And the fact of the matter is, we have to have conflict. Conflict is something that happens. It's not inherently good, bad, right, or wrong, but having a difference. And when you embrace that conflict because it's going to serve the person or serve the organization, that's when I think people should realize, that person's going to be thankful, grateful that you cared enough to say something that can help them and help them contribute even more to the organization.
All three of these things have one thing really in common, and it's an emotional response, right? I'm speaking as a psychological professional here, right? And there has to be a mindset shift with all of these, right?
Mm-hmm.
We learn most when we're wrong, right?
100%, and embracing that ability. I mean, it's that, remember the Fonzie show and Happy Day? Like, I'm wrong. I couldn't even say I'm wrong, right? It's not right. I'm wrong. Like, I am wrong. And so bad Molly, I've used that for, hey, bad Molly, and a way to make it light. But, for leaders, for anyone, when we're wrong, like, oh my gosh, I messed up. I can't believe I did that. Wow. Right. And then move on, own it and move on. Don't let it drag you down forever. Because I've also seen people kind of hammer themselves. I'm like, Marshall taught me this. Let it go. Be a little nicer and kinder to yourself.
Right. Yeah. Well, the last person we forgive is us. Mm-hmm. In those situations. But I think if you could, and I just say this to the listeners and people who are viewing the show, and thank you everybody who's joining us. One of the things I want you to hear what she's saying is, if you can embrace the fact that being wrong is the best way to learn, where we don't learn anything from being right. We really don't. We don't learn anything from being right. We just pump up our ego. Second thing, when she talks about fear of fitting in, you know what? You're not the only one who's struggling with not fitting in. I'm in situations where it's awkward for me as somebody older who works with teenage girls, where it's kind of like, well, how is this going to work? Well, it works great. By the way, it works really great. They love me coming to see them, and they're doing our group stuff. It works great. So also understand that there's people around wondering if they're going to fit in. It's all just natural part of it. But we have to understand that we've got something to contribute, regardless of where we're at. And then the fear of offending, you know what? Here's the other thing with those two. If you don't say something and you know that you have something important to say, then what happens inside of you is resentment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a way to live, is to live and go to a place of work where we're resenting. And that's what I pulled out of this, Molly, was that these little psychological pieces. And by the way, all this comes down to a choice at the end of the day. Right? I mean, this is everything that you're talking about in this book, right, is about a choice. And that's what's, I know it's hard, people, to make the choice, but you can make it. I'm just encouraging you can. And that runs us into the me, you, we framework, which we're going to start on. We're going to dig in a lot into this. So when we're going to end this first segment here in a little bit, but we have a me, you, we framework. Give us the kind of the big overview first, and then we'll start breaking it down.
Well, it's an approach. And I think the thing about this skillful conversation, being skillful, and you talk about everyone having a voice. Everyone has one. Have they found their authentic voice to be able to speak up in a way that's true to themselves? That's the second part that we're not taught. Okay. It's our most life-changing skill. Being able to contribute fully what we really think is something that no one teaches us how to do, right? Not in school, not in most companies. It's a total miss. And here's why it's hard. It is a highly individual and personalized skill. Individual in that yours is a voice that only you can find. Molly or Jay can't find it for you. And the journey to finding it and how you actually speak up is not one size fits all. You can say things in a way that I can't. I can say things in a way that you can't. So it's something that each of us needs to kind of step up into. So the framework, me, you, we, is simple and it's a powerful framework that anyone can apply to navigate tough conversations. And so that idea of an approach that you can use as you need it is what I want to really empower people with. And I think what we talked about first and foremost is, should I speak up? And yes, there's a driver, speak up. You have a choice. Do you want to contribute more? Do you want to be able to be recognized for your contributions? Do you want to help the team? And that's up to you. We're not here to tell you you should or shouldn't. But I think you matter. And in order to show others that you matter, your words have to matter. And I want to help people genuinely to find a way to speak up that feels comfortable and good for them. That me part, it starts, and I would say 80% of effective communication starts there, because to your point, emotional, like, what are my emotions, right? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling that, without necessarily making myself bad for it? Because if I don't understand where I am at and I'm obsessed with myself, I am never going to be able to put myself in someone else's shoes or think about serving the greater good. So coming to grips with where am I at on that? I don't want to give Susan this tough feedback. Okay, well, wait a second. Why don't I want to do that? Well, I'm afraid. Okay, great. You just start to really understand where you're at. And then the idea of a conversation, what do you want to have happen, right? Do you want to improve a relationship? Do you want to get more information? Do you want someone to know where you are? Understanding your intention and what you want to accomplish, just like you would with a project, right, is important. And it may not be one conversation. This may be a series of conversations. And most of the bigger topics are. So you kind of start to say, hey, I want that person to know, first and foremost, I'm not here to make them wrong. I'm here to really understand and to partner, right? And that idea of how am I connecting with this person, which is that you part, is to be able to identify and truly empathize with someone else's emotional experience, meaning they feel that you have a sense of what it's like for them. It doesn't mean Molly feels she's respectful. It doesn't matter what Molly thinks. It matters that Jay feels Molly's respecting him. Right. And when you do that, you can connect not as, marketing manager and tech lead, but as human beings. And if you can connect as human beings, you have a chance of influencing and then someday potentially leading people. Right. And at the highest level, you get this we, which is this based on this relationship systems intelligence. We're on the same team or couple or on this webinar, but we're each having a different experience of it. And that ability to really empathetically understand what it's like for each other, to walk in each other's shoes, is fundamental to effective collaboration, powerful group identity, and sustaining success. So that ability to kind of get out of my own way, understand how do I want to show up, because I know in my energy, before I utter a single word matters, it's like take care of the things that you control. And then I really connect with that other person, have them appreciate that I'm here to help, I'm here to serve. And then at the highest level, what do we want to do together? What serves the whole? And I use this great example because every year at the end of the year, there's a headcount war. Okay. Everyone wants more headcount. No one walks in saying, you know what, I need less headcount. Nobody wants less headcount. Okay. So let's just say the marketing guy is slicker, so they do a better pitch and they get the headcount and not engineering. But an accurate shared reality would have revealed, you know what, we need more technical people, right? So we won the battle, but lost the war. And so that ability to actually realize what serves the whole, and then because engineering got the headcount, we want to reward marketing, acknowledge them. Way to go. Thank you for helping us add more people to engineering, even though you didn't get your headcount, because that's what's really going to help us do our best work together. How simple is that?
Well, okay. First of all, beautifully done. You did it so quickly, but we're going to dig into each of these a little bit deeper because there's a lot that we have to talk to. But here's what I need to do. I need to talk about my sponsors for a second. You are listening to Molly Tschang and her book, co-authored with Marshall Goldsmith, Say It Skillfully, Speak Up, Make Your Words Matter, Win Together, available everywhere, bestseller. You can find it everywhere, Amazon, bookstores. If it's not in the bookstore, you tell them to get it in there now. All right, you do that because that's really, really important. Also, I'm going to give a little teaser. Kind of towards the end of the show, Molly's going to give us a little link and some special goodies and things like that too. So if she's going to do that here, you're listening to her here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, one of my sponsors is Zoundy. And you go, what is Zoundy? Okay, so for those of us who publish books or you're a publisher and you're in the audiobook space, this is the game changer. I use it with my books. In fact, I was speaking at a conference and I gave my book away for free. And my audiobook for free. And here's what happened. People download the book and then we started engaging with each other because emails started going back and forth. And I started learning more about what they wanted to hear or what they wanted me to write, things that they'd like me to talk about a little bit more. Absolutely outstanding. It's fantastic. Great platform. Check it out. Special code right here from A New Direction, Zoundy.com, ZOUNDY.com /JAY. Use my code JAY25. That's JAY, the numbers 2 and the number 5. Absolutely unbelievable. Love it. It's one of the best things that has happened to me as somebody who writes and speaks. Fantastic. And also Linda Craft Team Realtors for more than 40 years. You know what? They've been helping people transition in life. And you say, wait, they do real estate. What do you mean life transition? Well, think about it. Every place you've ever lived has been a life transition. They know how to take the stress out of that and reduce the stress in that. And they've helped thousands of people do that. And they can help you. So check them out, lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with Molly Tschang and her book, Say It Skillfully. There it is. Speak up, make your words matter, win together. Thanks to everybody across the country, by the way, who is listening to us by radio. I never say that enough, AM, FM 24/7. Thanks for putting the show out there and listening wherever you're listening. Say something to the people who put the show out and let them know that you're enjoying it. So Molly, let's talk about having a good relationship with myself, me, and digging that a little bit deeper, because I am guilty of this. As much as I want to be intentional about the things that I say, I get amygdala hijacked. I'm not even about to lie about that, where my emotions get the best of me. And I can walk into a meeting with people, and if I am not set up front about what my goal is and what I want to do, it could be a total disaster. Help me and other people like me who sometimes are not as intentional as we should be in getting us to have more of that in the forefront of our frontal lobe in our mind, that we can get there, because this is something that's very challenging. It can be challenging for leaders. It can be challenging for the people who are in the meetings, whatever it may be. Help us get there.
Yes. So a starting point, and I don't mean to be like a health guru or anything, but I do teach yoga. I practice meditation, and that notion of self-care is not a joke. And so that ability to feel like you have the resources to be your best self, that takes some work, right? There's some prioritizing there, eating well, sleeping, exercising. So when your kind of system is kind of depleted or exhausted, it's really hard to be patient, to show up as your best self, to try to be empathetic to other people. It's a lot to ask of yourself. So I know oftentimes, and this is, we're all caught on this. We're on the, call it the gerbil wheel, the treadmill. It's never stopping. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. And so at some point you have to decide, am I going to lead myself or not? And if you're going to let life happen to you, I get that. It's totally understandable. In parts of life, sometimes there just isn't an option. But at some point, hopefully you get the cart before the horse. And so I just want to offer that, you can get out of a meeting and you're super annoyed. I mean, you were wronged. It was bad, with all legitimacy, you're annoyed. But that next meeting, if you go in there beat red and flaming, it's not a good look for you and it's not going to help the team or the work. So your decision is, do I take 2 minutes and breathe and exhale and get it together and realize that I am blessed, that I am gifted, I am privileged, I have the chance to be here and do meaningful work. I mean, whatever, you can do to help appreciate the greatness you have in your life, then hopefully that helps you do a reset so that you can then really focus on the fact that, hey, this isn't about me. Hopefully you can let that go and say, well, how can I be, if you will, part of the solution, not part of the problem? Because when we show up, in a way that isn't serving the work, we are part of the problem. We're not a bad person, but we're kind of not helping the situation, right? And so I just think having, giving ourselves some grace. And, sometimes you say, hey, I have to apologize. I'm a little short. I'm not really there. And, bear with me. We're all human. And I think leaders modeling that humanity is a good thing, right? And you got to do so in a way that still gives you credibility. But people want to work for real leaders. They want to follow people who they feel are genuine, right? And do, in fact, want the best for everybody.
I've had, like Navy SEALs, Delta Force people, even general on this show, talk about self-awareness. And by the way, this is a big deal for you in this book. When we go through the examples, self-awareness is such a big deal. And oftentimes I feel like we run into a habit where we wake up, we go through the motions, we go into the meetings, we do whatever we're supposed to do, or, I'm going to have this check-in with the boss or, or a direct report. And we just kind of go through it and we're not prepared because we don't have enough self-awareness of where we're at. And if we could just get just a little more self-awareness, I'm not saying, you have to be paralyzed into self-awareness. I'm just saying just a little more self-awareness and then be more intentional about our outcomes. And you're right. We also don't talk about health. By the way, I've seen your yoga stuff. Amazing. Okay. When I went to search, it was amazing. But you know what? There is a mind-body connection that we absolutely cannot ignore here. And the better condition you're in, I worked out before the show and the better condition that you're in and the better shape that you're in allows you to handle more. To do that. So that's really important. And there's another thing you bring up in the me part, and that's vulnerability is a must for trust. And I would love for you to talk about the vulnerability part.
Yes. Well, obviously Brene Brown, our beloved Brene, does a great video on this. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And, she talks about the fact that it's not something anyone loves to do. And I wrote in the book actually that, most leaders, you mentioned vulnerability and they'd rather clean toilets. Like no one is dying to talk about vulnerability, but it's just essential. And to be able to ask for help, to say, I don't know. To, admit the stuff that doesn't make us, a perfect Instagram post. That takes some courage.
Yeah.
That takes some courage. And at the core, I think, folks have often said, so-and-so doesn't think I'm confident, I'm like, well, what do you think of you? And we have to realize that we are our thoughts. So if you think you're a loser and you can't do it and you're this or that, kind of halfway there, right? So that ability to give ourselves the credit that we deserve, not in an arrogant or a delusional way, but say, hey, these are the things I think I am good at and I'm passionate about and I can get better at. These are things I maybe will never get better at. And this is where the system is important because, there's this Tasha Urich, shout out to Tasha on self-awareness, queen.
Love her. We communicate a lot together. Love her a bunch. Yeah.
She's like amazing. She's a sister to me. So that notion of internal and external self-awareness, like, do I have a sense of what's going on? Do I understand what's going on for me? And then do I have an accurate understanding of what other people think of me? And those are two separate categories. I just want to put out there that journey. I mean, the most successful people are self-aware because you just have to be. And as you get more self-aware, you also want to grow in your self-compassion because you start to be aware of all these things that aren't exactly picture perfect about you. And if you don't grow in your self-compassion, you're going to drive yourself crazy because oh my God, I'm not this and I'm not that. It could be this, it could be that. So you need to track and grow on both those dimensions. But I just, that vulnerability piece, once you start to realize like, hey, I'm good. Like I'm trying hard. I'm a good person. Harry Kramer has a mantra that I really adopted, which is I try to do the best. I try to do the right thing, what I think is right. And I may be wrong, but I'm doing what I think is right. I'm applying myself to do it to the best of my ability. And I sleep well at night.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. And I do want to encourage sleeping well at night. Many years I did not sleep well at night. I had somehow kind of inner kind of thing. And I would wake up 3 to 5, like every day. Yeah. Every day awake 3 to 5. So by the time when the alarm gets up at 6:15, you're like, you feel dead, right? It's a total drag. So the body keeps score. Being able to let go of tensions. I think over time, I just kind of relaxed inside and that went away. But I'm very, compassionate when people have issues about sleep or what have you, because it's hard. It's hard to function. I'm an 8-hour a night sleep gal. Like I run at high levels, high octane, high RPMs during the day. So I need to refuel at night.
Yeah. And part of this vulnerability thing, you brought up 2 of them, admit that you don't have all the answers, ask for help. But then part of this is also, admitting your mistakes, right? You own it, right? Have your own self-accountability. People don't like talking about it, but it's really true. You got to own it. And, say sorry when you're wrong, right? That's the other piece of this. And, I think that can be very hard because sometimes, especially people in leadership, I find have a very difficult time because they feel like they can't be wrong. Mm-hmm. They have to be right all the time. And they can't admit a mistake because they feel like so much is riding on it. Mm-hmm. But that's the vulnerability that your people need to see if you want them to connect.
Yeah, right? I mean, because the fact of the matter is you are making mistakes. Okay, like it's just nobody is perfect. And so the fact that you're feigning that you are in and of itself gets to I'm not really in good relationship with myself because I'm not perfect. There's no way I'm making all the right decisions and have all the right answers and I'm doing all the right things all the time. Yeah. That's like Superman, you know what I mean? Because we're not. And so I think acknowledging, and I don't want to make people bad or wrong. We get, A's when we get all the right answers. Generally, we get promoted when we're more right than wrong, right? We don't want to be more wrong than right. But there's this balancing act of recognizing that, our greatest strength comes from making the biggest mistakes and learning from them. Again, not the career ending, although some career, jobs have ended and it has made you better, right? So for sure, there's a chance to learn. And that I think gets to people fundamentally being self-assured, people who feel grounded in themselves. And I call this do the work. Jay. And so if you're on a treadmill and you're working and you never are able to step back and say, hey, how's this going? Over the last 15 years, I've had these transitions. Like what happened? Were they good? Did I make good choices? Did I pick good friends? Did I date good people? Right. And if you never slow down ever to just kind of take stock of what's been going down, it's hard to really appreciate, frankly, how much you have grown. But also it's hard to just actually figure out how you have grown and where you need to grow. And so I really want to encourage folks, that's a really great activity. It's not necessarily fun when you have to confront the times where you didn't say or do the right things, when you didn't behave in a way that was really something you are proud of. I mean, I have done that. We don't have enough time for all the moments and situations that I have not handled well, and I'm better for them, right? I wish I didn't do them, but I know that they were part of my journey, so I can embrace them as such. So that is also something that it can be really useful to work with someone to go through that. I mean, I had a great coach, Francis Fuji, took me through this passion and purpose exercise, I don't know, 12 or 13 years ago, changed my life. You know, it was very clear to me, you know, what I stood for and the legacy I wanted to leave and why I do what I do. And once you understand yourself, because you're getting to know yourself for who you are your whole life, right? You're changing as a new Jay, new Molly every day. But there's kind of these step functions of how you get to know yourself. And
Yeah.
it's really empowering when you can own that, own your journey, you know, not, you know, love that you made mistakes, but you got that you made them and you can talk about them and you can share them with others so that make new mistakes, right?
Right.
That's a really virtuous cycle.
It is. And, you know, I do a lot of work with people trying to help them find their passion and their purpose, capital P purpose, and sometimes the small p purpose, and, you know, in their work that they're currently doing. But then there's the big purpose. What's my life really meaning? What that's for? And when you discover that and when you understand that, then it frees you so much because you stay within that lane. Because if it's not part of my purpose and within my passion, I don't want to do it.
Right.
And I'm not going to be successful at it.
Yeah. Well, I think there's lots of things we can do, but having the passion and purpose grounded, because we
Yeah.
have limited energy, we have limited time. And so how you apportion those really dictates, I think, the degree of satisfaction and perhaps happiness that you can have. And so that ability to say, you know, I know that this is what matters most to me, and I really want to put this time and energy into it. That matters, because when you do something worthwhile, it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to say, I'm not going to do it anymore. But when you know this is why you're on the earth and this is what you really want to do and who you want to be, then it gives you that extra oomph to be able to push through. I have to do a shout out. Casey Crane was on my show, and his family they're like insane, overachieving people in the, what is it? Like high endurance things. Like he's hiked 7 mountains that are super high. His mom, who sadly passed early of a cancer until her last moments, was like running and doing these amazing, crazy hikes all over the world. And their family motto was, it's all mental.
Yeah.
And I have these moments, I'll be in the gym or whatever, and I think about Casey and I think about his mom, and I'm like, you know, Molly, you're going to sit here another 15 seconds in this like plank if it kills you, right? Because we've got a lot of depth. We have more inside of us than we might appreciate.
We do.
You know?
Yeah, I know. We have more in the tank than we think we have, where we often don't recognize how our mind can actually do more than what we believe, or even what our body may be telling us. It's quite amazing, actually. And this is a great segue, by the way, into what authenticity is and what it is not, because this is where we head next into that me, you know, the emotional intelligence part of, okay, well, Molly, what is authenticity and what isn't it?
Yeah. So we define it as being authentically who you need to be to best serve the whole. So, well, I'm really mad. I'm going to be authentic and tell everyone I'm really mad. Okay. Well, that's called like leading with your ego. Okay. So if it serves the group that you show up mad because that's somehow what the group needs, that's different.
Right.
And so that ability to realize that this is what the leader or the person that I need to be to advance the team, to serve the customer, to serve the work, that's what we mean by that word. It's not like, well, you know, I feel this, so I need to say it. Like, no, that's not it. It's like, I want authentically to wear pink slippers to work. I'm like, okay, like I get that you want to do that, but if that's not the norm in your workplace, and that would be dishonoring of the workplace culture, you know, that's a question that people, I think, really need to confront. And I also want, you know, to empower people, because I think sometimes people feel very nervous. Like, oh, wait a second, that's crazy. You know, like, but I can't say anything. I'm like, well, wait a second, why can't you say anything? Right. And so if it's not clear to you that behavior or action is really in service to the organization, we can raise that. We don't have to make the other person bad or wrong, but we want to help each other do the right thing. And, you know, this is where the mutual accountability part is it's not the leader's job to make sure everybody speaks up perfectly, right? It's about saying, hey, everybody matters. As a leader, I'm here telling you that everyone matters, that I want to be able to hear different viewpoints, that I'm really open to it. I'm going to say thank you when you tell me that bad news that I might not want to hear. I might not like it, but I'm going to tell you thank you, because that's how we're going to do our best work together. That's how we're going to innovate. I mean, people think about conflict, right? Conflict inherently isn't good or bad or right or wrong. And if people don't disagree, Jay, we don't innovate, because we would just do the same thing over and over, right? So I think helping people realize, like, when you think about someone disagreeing or there's conflict, do you think that's negative or bad? It's okay if you do, but understand that. And is that really serving you? Right? I think when people are different, like, wow, that's amazing. You got to think about it differently. Say more.
Mm.
Seek first to understand, right? What might I be missing? And believe me, I felt younger, kind of judged. So I got very good at judging. I was very good at judging, right? I was an excellent judger. It took me 20 years to just sort of let that go a little bit and be like, okay, why are you so quick to judge? Just take it in for the information that it is and see how it can apply and help you make better decisions, right? And so that was a little growing up moment for me.
Her name is Molly Tschang. The book is co-authored with Marshall Goldsmith. It's called Say It Skillfully. Speak Up, Make Your Words Matter, Win Together. Available everywhere. Check it out. It's absolutely, I think it's a fundamental read. I think it's a must read for all of us. I know that it really spoke to me greatly, and it's made me really think a lot harder about how am I checking myself in before I walk through the door, and then how am I relating to others, and then how am I relating in terms of the group. And I know you're going to get that from here. You're listening to her here on A New Direction. Folks, Zoundy, love them. Ultimate game changer for anybody who's in the authors, publishers, professionals, audiobook space. Here's the deal. A lot of audio platforms out there. This is the only one that allows you to connect with the people who actually downloaded your book. Only one. And it's so good. It has been such a game changer for me. I have found it so enlightening to speak with those people who listen to my book and give me ideas of what I could do. It's great. It'll help generate more revenue for you. Just amazing platform. Check them out. Go to my link, zoundy.com, Jay. That's ZOUNDY.com /J, J-A-Y. And then use my code JAY25. That's JAY, numbers 2, number 5, JAY25, unlock special savings. Linda Craft Team Realtors, love them. Listen, I'm biased, I admit it, but I think it's the best real estate website on the planet, and I'll tell you why. Yes, they have everything that you're looking for. You want to find houses, they've got it there. You want to find other information about the area, they've got it there. You want to find people who you can work with that can help roof your house or whatever. They got all that stuff there. Here's where there's the difference. They actually talk to a child psychologist, talk about how to move with children. They talk to veterinarians, talk about how to move with pets. They have specialists that come in. They've got a show called Real Estate right now, where they actually bring in appraisers and all sorts of folks to help you understand different things about real estate. They take it to another level. I think that's what you're going to find most exciting about lindacraft.com. So check it out. It's lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Molly Tschang and her book. She doesn't know that we're friends, but we are. Say It Skillfully. Speak Up, Make Your Words Matter, Win Together is the name of the book, co-authored with Marshall Goldsmith. Absolutely fabulous. Let's dig into to connecting as human beings. I think we want to think we're connecting, but I'm not so sure that we're as connected as we'd like to think we are. Help us.
Yeah, I mean, I think this gets to the way we show up and our ability to, like just the energy that we send off. Is that of a I'm better than you? Mm-hmm. Is it a I'm here to partner and help you be better energy? Is it one that creates space for people? And there's not one right answer for this, but I think understand that so often because of this desire to be right, we can come across, I for sure am guilty of this, of like, I'm right, Molly's right, she always has to be right, right? And so just going and saying, this is a new topic for me, show some vulnerability. You're the expert here. I'd really love to learn from you. So I'm here, I'm all ears.
Empathy is a word that we throw around a lot. And we don't, it's easy to say, I'm trying to put myself in another person's shoes, which can be difficult at times, but it doesn't have to be as difficult as we make it, I don't think, because it's trying to encompass everything, not just what's going on in their life, but what might they be feeling? What might be their emotional state? I think it's bigger than it is than what, and yet we complicate it, but it doesn't have to be complicated. Help us walk through empathy. Maybe give us something there that can help us out a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's just the sense when the other person senses that you care,
Mm.
and they are coming at it in a way to help.
Mm.
It's fairly basic, and it's just saying, hey, someone's lost their job. Gosh, maybe you've never lost your job. Gosh, I am really sorry.
Mm.
How are you feeling?
Mm.
What can I do? And some of these things, there's experts in particular situations you can read about what you can really do. But I think at the end of the day, letting someone know that you care enough and are not so focused on the job or the work that you need from them, that you could actually say, hey, how are you doing? How are your kids? It doesn't have to be a 20-minute conversation about them, but just showing that you appreciate them, the whole of them and their life, because their family is kind of why they're going to work so much, right? So just showing that you're interested in who they are. And, I think sometimes someone comes to us in an emotional, maybe slightly emotional kind of state, and we're not that comfortable with that. So we rush to task even faster. Oh my God, just give me instead of saying, hey, Jay, you seem not quite yourself. Is everything okay? That's it. People say, well, I don't want to pry. I'm not asking you to pry. You ask if they're okay. They may say, and then they may share. And you might just listen and say, thanks. Is there anything I can do? Or they may say, hey, I'm totally fine. Nothing problem. That's great. I just wanted to check. And I want you to know if there's anything I can be helpful for you in any way, I'm here. That's it.
And it's that simple. And you share with us the Catalyst study that 76% of those who worked for an empathetic leader felt more engaged. And we all know the Gallup studies, that's been reported over and over again. About 60 some odd percent of people don't feel engaged at work. Empathy is certainly going to go a long ways to change that engagement, as compared to 32% of people who, according to this study, who worked for a less empathetic leader didn't feel engaged. So the empathy, it goes a long ways in leadership, but also towards each other. And I often say this about not just empathy, but really connecting with somebody. When you've been shown mercy, and you can look at it, it's easy to give people mercy. When you've been shown grace, you can give people grace.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what people need to know, and I'm not making this a religious conversation. That's not what I'm doing. Because mercy is just withholding punishment that's deserved. And grace is just giving a gift that you didn't deserve. And, sometimes I think when we're in these leadership moments and we're connected with other people, I have to remind myself, what mercy do they need from me right now? What's that punishment that they're expecting from me that I'm not going to give them?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the grace, right? What's the gift I'm going to give them that they didn't think that they deserved? And I think if we can think that way, and I try to think more often like that, more and more, that's part of that whole picture too. Because who am I?
Mm.
I mean, there's a lot of things I deserve to be punished for I didn't get punishment for. And a lot of gifts I've been given that I didn't really deserve. Yeah. And that goes a long way, I think, to connecting with others too.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I think that humility to understand what you just shared, I think that's really, really wise. And, it doesn't necessarily take a lot.
Yeah.
And by people like, well, I don't know what I should do. I said, well, just let them know. I don't really know what I should do, but I want you to know I care and I'm here to help.
Yeah.
That's it. So I don't give that answer.
Let's move to the we, harnessing the power of us, because this is This is the last segment of the show. And so let's talk about this. When we say we, harnessing the power of us, what do you really want people to know?
Well, if you think about a system, which is a group of people in interdependent relationships. So that might be a couple, it might be a team, it might be the whole company. So think about whatever that system is and recognizing that we're all in it together. And that we're all in together. I'm part of a group and I'm an individual, but my being part of the group, I'm part of the group too. So how I move through space reflects on the group's brand. And people are appreciating that, you are an individual, but once you're part of a team, if you're part of an executive leadership team, that team has a reputation. And what do you folks want it to be? And are you clear that your actions and your words are reinforcing how you want the rest of the company to think about you? Because that is very powerful, because that creates an expectation. And that also is where culture starts at the top. So that's why I do what I do on the consulting side, because I think I see a lot of great leaders, good people, super smart, very experienced, not really working great as a team, And so you want everybody else to work like a team. Sorry, you guys got to work. You guys got to work like a team too. And I think that's where it starts. So that together, I think is winning, committing to each other's success. It's not, let me boast up so-and-so, and it's a win-lose situation, which often you find in organizations. It's like, let's win together. How about that? How about the sports team sort of thinking applied to business? And I think that realizing that we're here in service to the whole organization. And if the whole organization doesn't thrive, it's kind of a bummer for all of us. So at the end of the day, we really do have a shared aim. We want the whole organization to thrive and be ongoing and to be growing so that we can grow in our organization. So, I think lots of times we have way more in common than people realize. So it's up to leaders to reinforce, hey, this is our shared vision. This is where we're going. Because this group was willing to sacrifice here and that group was willing to do this, we were able to come together and 1 + 1 = 11, which is what you want, right? You bring these people together and you combine powerfully to be able to do your absolute best work more than any one person could ever hope to accomplish.
Talk about appreciation as one of the most effective ways to connect, build trust, and create high performance.
Yeah. How about love them up? Let's quote Al Mulally, love them up. And that ability, no one is overappreciated other than Marshall. Marshall's the only person who I've actually heard. And I think he is overappreciated. He really is appreciated. So the thing is, no one is overthanked, over acknowledged, overappreciated. There's no one. And so it is the gift that keeps on giving. And being, I think, timely with it, specific. So it's commensurate to whatever the contribution was, and heartfelt. Those would be my three characteristics of great appreciation. And I've known that a lot of leaders feel a little uncomfortable because they're like, well, if I give too much appreciation, people are going to take their foot off the accelerator. They're going to be like a little bit, things are okay. I'm like, just the opposite. The big boss comes by and says, oh my God, Jay, you did an amazing job. You saved the day. Jay is now over the moon for like 2 weeks and is just going to crank it out for the rest of the quarter. So it really, because positive environments are what really drive great performance. I mean, there aren't great performers where it's horrible at work. We want a positive environment. I play tennis, or Jay, you probably know, everything comes down to tennis. And I'm not a great doubles player, but I am super positive on the court. And I'm like, way to go, way to try. I have to give my mom a little crap. My mom, we were watching her play doubles with my dad a long time ago, and my dad double faulted. So what does my mom do? She's like, huh? She walks across the other side. We're like, and she's like the most caring, loving person. She just didn't. My mom really likes to win, but it's that kind of body language thing. Like, obviously, no one's trying to double fault. No one's trying to make mistakes. So, that ability to be the kind of person that performance improves when you're around, right? That you're injecting belief and positivity, because that is your big winners. They believe, okay? Yeah. They do these amazing things, and because they believe, right? Everyone else doesn't think they can do it. They think they can do it. And when there's a will, there's a way.
So well done. We've done our hour together. It's been so much fun, Molly. Thank you for coming on. Tell people how they can get a hold of you. I know you're gonna create a link that I'm gonna put on the blog post as well. But let people, because I got a lot of execs and corporate people listening to the show, tell them how they get a hold of you.
Yeah. So sayitskillfully.com, all one word, sayitskillfully.com is the source, one-stop shop for everything. I am on LinkedIn, so I'd love for people to connect and chime in on the posts. I do have a program, Say It Skillfully 101, to bring to companies to really help groups really take the skill and amp it up. I know that when people say it skillfully, relationships strengthen, performance improves, and everyone wins. Right. And most of this professional development is about an individual playing the game. So they win. We want to change the game so that everyone wins. And I just really am grateful for all the folks who are out there. I want you to know that I know you matter. Right. And I want you to be able to speak up in a way that you feel true to yourself, to have the impact that you want to have and create in the world and be recognized for it. And I know that, everyone can do it. I didn't speak English until I was 5. I am the poster child that this is a learnable skill. And it's so empowering, folks. And I just want you to really feel that freedom to be who you are and say what needs to be said. So we'll send out the audiobook for folks. I'm going to offer the first 10 people who download, we'll do a free webinar session with me so we can kind of do one-on-one with them. And, I'm cheering for you folks to be who you are and say what needs to be said and create that shared reality and pursue success on your terms.
That's awesome. Thank you, Molly. Stay with me, will you please? Folks, it's the show. You know what I say to you every week. You're in control of 3 things: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. Life doesn't always give us what we want. It's not something that we asked for. But you know what? You're in control of your attitude. Not always easy, but you are in control of it. Take control of that attitude because that's your start. And that's going to get you through a lot. And then you're also in control of your effort. And your effort is tied to your excellence. How excellent will you choose to be today? I know we don't always have the same amount of energy in the tank on any given day, but with what you got, be as excellent as you can. Make that choice. And you know what? We all get punched in the gut, get punched in the teeth, and we get knocked down. It's up to us to get back up, and we need you to get back up. Why? Because you're worth it, and we want you on the team. I'll be back next week with another great guest, another great book. It's going to be another great show. You have a lot of choices. You chose us. Thank you for doing that. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Wherever you're listening to the show, give us a 5-star review and tell your friends. We always appreciate that. As I say to you all over the world, and I'm so grateful for you, and you know what that is. Ciao.